If you looked at the title, I said how to get out of your funk in 5 minutes, right? Uh, anyway, and it's not just me that says this. I have it happen to me. I know all of you have had it happen to you. But all too often, we are controlled by these moments, right? Suddenly we're going about our day, and all of a sudden we're captured by a moment. We have, your ears fill up, your blood pressure goes up, what have you. And suddenly you're in that funk. Some people are so used to doing it that it's a daily occurrence. And first and foremost, how dare us be controlled by an emotion that comes on so quickly, right? I've seen people, I've done it, right? That 1 minute they're having a conversation, somebody will say something, they'll look at something, a conversation, and they're tripped off, and suddenly they're in a mood. And then at that point, they go into this, I'm in this funk mood, and everything around them, all the people around them, and everything is under the control of that emotion, right? There are people that do it for control. There are people that actually enjoy being on edge all the time because it gives them some semblance of control. The truth being is they lose an enormous amount of ground. It turns people off to them. Control is controlling everybody because of fear. It's actually fear, and so they have to manifest this crazy moment that just controls the environment, because that's how they stay on top of stuff, because they're afraid not to. And half of it's a pattern. I know people that silently will use those funky moods to control their spouses. They'll use it to control their work environment. And you can't afford to be a ticking time bomb. You can't afford to have a short fuse. You can't afford to have a moment, one conversation, one announcement, one post, one text, one thought to trip you off and put you in a state where now everything around you disappears, and it's all about that emotion being massaged until you, of course, give yourself enough time to finally get out of it, which who knows how long that is. And here's why I say that. Life's too short, guys. Life's too short to be stolen from. Okay, let me tell you something. If you're going to have, if you're going to be stolen from in this world, it better not be you doing the stealing to yourself. If something's going to happen to you that's different than you having this conditioning that's so frequent, so easy to step into, depression, the funkiness. You ever smelled funk? Funky, huh? Everybody around you smells it. It's a turnoff. It isn't helping a soul. It's stealing from you. Everybody's affected by it. You gain zero ground, and you've lost that moment. So how many of you have daily moods? I'm telling you something. Do you know how much of your life gets ripped off because of these conditioned responses that we allow to just take over huge amounts of time in our lives? Your blood pressure goes up, like I said. You're agitated, you're angry. Sometimes you don't want to come off of the emotion, and if everybody doesn't appease you, you'll dig deeper into it just to have more contention so you can stay in that funky mode. And the truth is that you want to get over it in 5 minutes? Realize it's a thief. You want to get over it in 5 minutes? Realize it's a perverse emotion. You want to get over it in 5 minutes? Realize you've lost everything and you've gained nothing by it. You want to get over it in 5 minutes? The next time it hits you and you allow yourself to suddenly go into the funk, guess what? Stop yourself. I dare you to even say it out loud. Oh no, I will not be ruled by that right now. So you've got to get a hold of your emotions, because in business, in life, in family, in relationships, somebody looks at you wrong. Somebody says something wrong. Somebody didn't compliment the dinner. Somebody, organized the house and the spouse didn't recognize it. You gave something to your kids and they didn't say thank you fast enough. Somebody at work sent you a text message and you react to it. I mean, what is wrong with us? that we are going to just be these little short fuse time bombs that can't even control our own emotion. Why do you think the scripture has an entire book dedicated to the tongue? Huh? James, why? Why? Because such a small spark can set such a huge blaze of fire. Such a small rudder can control a mighty ship. Such a small bridle in the horse's mouth can control a mighty beast like that. It's these little things, what comes out of your mouth, the moods you allow yourself to get into, for nothing, guys, for nothing. You want to be profitable in business? You've got to learn to control this nonsense. And guess who is totally in charge of it? Did anybody else? It's this. Because you can't afford to not be able to see clearly. You can't afford to be off balance. You can't afford to not be present for 2 or 3 hours while you're in some stupid mood. Meanwhile, you're heaping ugly on your spouse or your kids, or work's not efficient. You put yourself in it, you go get a headache, you go grab 2 Advil and a Tylenol. I mean, come on, guys. So you want to get over a funk? First of all, realize that it's a perverse response. It gives you nothing. And it's ugly. And you look ugly doing it. And the more you become familiar with effortlessly falling prey to it, the more unstable you're going to be across the board. The more people are going to shy away from you. Next time it hits you, shake it off, literally like a snake bit your hand, or you had a bee land on you and you thought it was going to sting you. Shake it off of you. You can't afford yet another thing to come in there and stand. Why am I talking about this? My wife and I were discussing today just the thieves in life that come in and rob people just across the board. And we were talking about how easily people step into that funk again, right? That smelly stench that suddenly crawls all over a room and everybody has to deal with it while that person or the source of it is around. It's a turnoff. People don't like it. You're serving no one. You're being stolen from yourself, and you're just becoming more and more. So when I say how to get over your funk in 5 minutes, see it for what it is. The next time you feel it crawl on you and hit you like that, come on. For nothing. I mean, for real. For nothing. Because somebody said or didn't say something. Because of a message or a lack of a message. Because of a moment or something didn't happen fast enough. Or here we go again, or you're scrolling on social media, you see somebody's face and it trips you off, and suddenly you're in the mood in 3/100ths of a second. If we can't control stuff like that, give me a break. Is it any wonder why relationships half of them are disastrous? Businesses are always in a volatile state. I mean, most people, and this is a huge percentage now, it's getting worse, will wake up in the morning and as soon as they open up their eyes, they reach for their phone and there's a million images or thoughts that are going to trip them up and put them into a state. So if you're easily susceptible to the funk, you have to realize how worthless it is, how empty, how non-effective. It gives you nothing. Gives you nothing. It only steals from you. So, how many young kids? I mean, come on. 14, 15, 16, 17. That's just being a teenager. No, it's not. They're conditioned because they're masters at always allowing these perverse emotions to control them. They've not mastered their mindset. They've not mastered their words. And suddenly, you see these kids from 15 to 20 years of age, always on edge, moody, dark-eyed, just always on edge, unhappy. That is a habit. That is a pattern. And parents, I'm talking to you. Those kids are sponges. What you allow in your home, you are affecting the rest of their lives. We can't, especially in this world, where now anything that's righteous and virtuous virtuous and godly and healthy is despised and seen as perverse and even abnormal, and yet if it's destructive or irregular or it's embraced and practically like cattle feeding out of the same trough, it's practically worshipped. The stampede towards it. Everything has gotten so haywire. Now, let me get theological for a minute. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Likened to the days of Noah. That's all I'm going to say. There's all kinds of stuff that we as people have to learn to control the environment. Remember, you are a thermostat. You are not a thermometer. You're not the person that just tells everybody the temperature and reflects the current temperature in a room. You're a thermostat. You don't like the room, you change the environment. And I mean for in a positive way. You're not a thermometer. You're a thermostat. You have the capacity to master your emotions. You have the capacity to control your tongue. You have the capacity to control what your eyes look at. And you have the capacity, the right, and the ability to shut off what your ears hear. So you want to master the funk, which is just one of a myriad of crazy things that are just like this right now to the world. Realize how nauseatingly worthless it is and how much you've lost and how much you're allowing to be stolen from you. Honestly, many times people won't change until they realize what they're losing. There is no ground gained by holding an attitude, bowing out your chest, having a funk, controlling the environment, being in a mood, the silent treatment, and all the games people do to spouses, children, co-workers, people, friends. Unnecessary. And hour after hour after hour is stolen. And what's worse is the more somebody does it, the more they become easily prey of it. And then once the conditioning is profound enough, it's almost who they become. This was not necessarily, I said, you know what, I got to get on video and talk about this because somebody needs to hear it. Somebody really needs to hear it. So anyway, my kids are coming out of their class now, so I'm just in the truck. And when I'm in the truck, I get stuff done. Whenever I'm in a vehicle, that's when I cut videos. So blessings, y'all. I hope that was helpful. Bye. I'll see you in the next video.